everybody, this is Jared, and today we're going to be giving, I guess we won't, but I will be giving my reflections on worship yesterday, Sunday. So, hey, here we go. Alright, this one's a winner. We're geared up, ready to go. Yesterday was Sunday, of course, and so we had a worship service, and today I'm just going to be sharing my reflections from that service, what I learned, and some of the takeaways from either the word, the sermon, or other aspects of the service itself. We're on day 15, 1-5, of VLOGtober now, and I really do appreciate all of you who have been going along with me in this endeavor to put out content every day of the week, except for Sunday, because it's so crazy. And I know I just want to take a second and thank all of you who showed up to the live stream on Saturday. Loved seeing all the interaction that was going on there. Loved having the instant feedback that allowed for us to encounter. Like, I was able to see your comments and you were able to see my reactions, and I just really loved that energy. And so I would encourage you to catch me on this coming Saturday. It looks like 11 o'clock is going to be the best bet from here on out as far as like October is concerned. And so if you've got some time, even if it's just a couple minutes, I'd love to see you there. And I know that several of these segments that I've got going on VLOGtober, we've got worship reflections on Monday, we've got my thoughts on Wednesday, we've got how to hymn history on Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday is devotional, and Saturday is the live stream. I know it's probably not your cup of tea, your piece of cake, whatever you want to call it. Your favorite thing each day, but I hope that you're getting something that you want out of one of those days. That's kind of the hope here, is that either you get encouragement on Tuesday, Thursday, maybe you get your how-to fix or your history fix on Friday. Before we go any further, I would love some instant feedback here. I can't poll because that's something that's locked for me. How bigger YouTubes can post, but here's what I've got is this Monday reflection time. If you take a second and jump down in the comments and let me know what you think about these different segments, and just let me know real quick what your favorite one is. I've just taken a quick poll here. Down in the comments, wherever you're at in this video, just go ahead and you can listen for a second while you type up your favorite thing. Whatever your favorite one is, we'll stick with that. And I really do appreciate seeing you there in the comments and just taking a quick poll. Really do appreciate your responses. And now let's get into, now that I blathered on, right, let's get into my reflections on yesterday's worship service. So I just thought of this thing before I started filming here, even before I did the setup. I thought, what would be really fun is to also encourage everyone to go away with something very specific, something practical. And so today I'm going to share a quote that I took away. My biggest takeaway was actually a quote from service, from the word, from the sermon yesterday. And so that quote, I'm just going to throw it up. I actually took a picture of it in the moment. I snapped a photo of the slide that came up, and here it goes. Boom! And it says, "Spiritual growth happens over the bridge of relationship." This is the thing that I took away the most from service yesterday, is this quote, and it really tied up, I think, a lot of what was said and the ultimate point of the message. What's most important, I think, was the title. And so let's just dive into this a little bit. We've been going through a series on blessings. We've just now kind of transitioned into this series on what I think is going to end up being how do we grow spiritually. And so last week was all about like the infancy stage, and now we're talking about growth, like what is infancy, and now yesterday was how do we grow into and develop it spiritually. So let's talk about this quote. Spiritual growth happens over the bridge of relationship. The essence of this quote, I think what was most interesting was that this idea of taking from last week, the infancy idea, that relationships are really about give and take. So how does that relate to this idea of the bridge of spiritual growth happens over relationship? Well, we think about an infant, think about a baby, and let's just dive into that. So this idea of the infancy, we understand that babies inherently are all about take and not about give. Like, oh yeah, there's, some people like, I get so much out of my child. Yeah, I get it. Like, they bring so much. They're your pride and joy, and they're your light, and in a dark world. And I get that concept, but in reality, like, they take a lot. They take a lot of your money. They take a lot of your time as a parent, and they don't give a whole lot, right? They need all of that attention and that energy, and they produce very little. There's very little give back there until they get older. And so that is the thing that I think this quote is really getting after. That if you want to grow, like, you need to think about spiritual growth in terms of relationship. And so what is your relationship to God? Are you an infant who only takes and gives nothing back? Not to say that the parent needs anything. Like, God doesn't need anything from us. Like, he's self-sufficient, like a parent is. Like, that parent makes their own money. Like, that parent gets their own food and can cook and can do this and that. Like, they don't need the child. That's not a reality. The reality is that the infant needs the parent. And that's fine, except for if you stay that way the whole time. The idea is that the Sadducees and the Pharisees were only takers and not givers. They weren't part of a true relationship. Like, relationships, the essence of relationship is all about the give and the take. So the take is part of it, like, you get something out of it, but you also, in order to grow and to be in a true relationship, you need to give something back in return. So the Pharisees and the Sadducees of the New Testament really were all about the take and not about the give, right? In order for us to be good stewards, or whatever you want to call it, like good, Jewish folks, like, what we need to do is follow the law, and that was our giving back to God. Like, he needed us to follow the law. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, we know through the revelation of the Scriptures, and especially the New Testament, that all are sinners and fall short of the glory of God. So that reality of sin in our lives that we see, that starts in Genesis and then just kind of explodes throughout the rest of Scripture in mankind, in our history, that understanding of our reality and our nature tells us that, like, adherence to the law isn't going to bring us into relationship with God. There has to be something else. And that something else is in the revelation of Jesus Christ and our ability to have a relationship with God the Father through the Son. Adherence to the law isn't a good enough give. Like, that's not going to bring us into relationship. It's all about the heart. And so we need to focus on more than just the law, and really think more about the spirit of the law. So when Jesus is at the temple, synagogue. Well, it's got to be synagogue, right? So he's at the synagogue, and he's surrounded by Pharisees and Sadducees. The Sadducees come to him and try and trip him up on something or ask him a question, and he's able to debate. He's able to debate that point, and they walk away shamed. So the Pharisees see this and go, hey, we've got one for him. Like, now's our time to step in and trick him. So they say, hey, Jesus, rabbi, teacher, what is the most important law or commandment? Or, I forget what the exact verbiage is. I'd have to go back and read it. But they try and trick him by saying, what's the most important? Take a stance. And with the thought process that he's going to have to pick one because he has to, we asked him to, he's going to abide by our rules. And then we can say, well, they were all given by God. And so you're wrong. Like, you're a false teacher. False, false, false. Like, I'm going to go after you, right? Well, what ends up happening is he instead of picking a side per se, he says the most important commandment is this. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your might, all your soul, all your strength, right? Whatever translation you're reading. With everything that you are, love the Lord your God. And then he says, and second and equal to that, if I have to pick something, is love others. Love your neighbor as yourself. And so love God, love others. And some translations, love self, right? So love is the commandment. And that was totally outside of what they had anticipated. So they were tripped up too, and they had to leave in shame also. Like, not happy, but they did have to go. Like, that wasn't good for them. So I guess we've got to look at the spirit of the law and not the letter of the law in this sense. Like, how do we best love God, love others, love self? And in that spirit, we also need to be talking. Like, that's part of relationship, and that's the give that I think is the spirit of the law, in order to love God with all of everything. Like, part of everything is our intellect, is our creativity, is our ability to speak and to articulate our wants and desires to God. And so I think that's what Pastor challenged us to do yesterday, is really to open up that dialogue and just to talk more, to give more to God, because he wants the heart. And the heart comes through conversation. So if, to sum it all up, relationships are about give and take, and so spiritual growth happens over the bridge of relationships. In order to have the relationship, there has to be both give and take. And so in order to give, it's not about adherence to the law, it's about the spirit of the law, which is love, which is love God, love self, love others. And that spirit comes through, the part of the relationship is communication, is giving through the heart. And the heart is communication. Like, they're interchangeable in my mind. So that was my takeaway, and that's a quick take. But here's what I want you to, here's the challenge and the question of the day, the whatever you want to call it. Like, here's my challenge for you today if you're watching this, is to take a second, either right now, and think about a quote that you were able to take away from yesterday's service. Wherever you were, I know we've got people in, Iowa, Texas, Arkansas. Like, wherever you're at, whatever church you attend, think back while it's fresh. If it's Monday or Tuesday, it's probably still fresh. Think back to a quote that somebody said. Maybe it wasn't the pastor, maybe it was the youth minister who was presenting about something, some kind of, foreign mission trip or whatever. Like, think back to a quote that was impactful, that was important, and that was your takeaway from service Sunday, and then just jump down in the comments and share it with everybody else. I'll even start, in the comments, I'll start the process, with this quote that I shared already. And then my challenge to you is, if you don't have a quote, or if you do, no matter what, go into next Sunday's service with that in mind. Your primary job next Sunday, aside from interacting with God and interacting in community with fellow believers, is to take away one thing, one quote, one saying that you can use. And next Monday, when I do the same thing and I upload the same video where I have my takeaway, I'm going to have a new quote. And I would love, love, love for all of you to also have a quote from your services. Let's share in community with one another the goodness of God and His truth that was revealed to us in our many, many different denominations, our many, many different services. So anyway, with that in mind, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and jump down in the comments for those couple of things, those couple of challenges that I gave to you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Happy VLOGtober, everybody. Goodbye. Oh, wait. Oh, I missed the thing. Go in peace.